Hello, everyone. I'm Michelle Navedo, and welcome to Friday 420. Today, I'm going to be talking with Eric Engelhart about living soil and about how cannabis growers in Jackson, Missouri are helping feed the community. Eric, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome to have you here. So, I wanted to start with back in the beginning. I wanted to start with your grow store there in Jackson, Missouri, Buttheadz Grow Shop. That's the name, yeah.
Yes, sir. Buttheadz Grow Shop.
But Butthead's Grow Shop's no ordinary grow shop. You guys have you have a community garden next to it. You do all kinds of social justice initiatives out of there. So I was wondering, how did the grow shop come about? Tell us the story.
So I started out working. I worked in another store when I first started. It was always a dream of mine to start a grow shop to help teach people about cannabis and how to grow cannabis. I fortunately have been lucky enough to know how to grow cannabis and learned it and wanted to share it with people in the community, especially here in Missouri, because in this area, cannabis has been really frowned upon over the years, and a lot of people never really had an opportunity to really get out there and learn it and stuff like that. So, when I first started out, we were just like a little shelf in a store. Friends of ours, Glass Gardens by Stacy, they let us set up in their nursery. We sold a little bit of grow supplies there at the beginning, not a whole lot. I remember I used to make, when I first started out, we made our own soil. And our butthead soil, we used to make it in a little container in the back. And I remember we used to mix it up in a little Rubbermaid container and then bag it in sandbags because that's what we should stick a little sticker on the side of it. But it was really great. Over the years, we've grown, met new people, expanded. We have our own store now. We still work with Glass Gardens by Stacy. They're great people too. We do the community garden. That's something that we started back in 2023. That was an initiative that I started. I wanted to try to bring people together. I noticed with starting a grow store in 2021, we had a lot of people that had come around the store and wanted kind of a community. I mean, when you're a cannabis user alone, you're kind of, you don't know who to be friends with in the first place,
Yeah,
because
alone in the
years
South,
ago.
especially.
Right. Yeah. And it was kind of a cool experience, having all these different people coming in the store and different age ranges. And I thought it'd be great to bring people together. So I remember we started our first meetings back in 2023. It started in April 2023, and we had such a great turnout. I remember the first meeting. I was kind of blown away because we had 25 people our first meeting, and I was like, oh, I got to take this serious. I'm not just smoking weed and hanging out with people anymore, So we really have done a lot. It's great. I've seen it bring people together. I've seen people learn from it. I've seen it help people with different kinds of things, whether they're going through hard times in their life or loss or dealing with their own demons. The club has really helped bring people together and kind of support people. And on top of that, we do that community garden thing, and that's been an awesome experience. The community garden, we've donated thousands of pounds of food to the area food banks and to different kinds of communities
So
in the area.
for the people that are listening, your
Yeah.
garden is like right next to the. I saw photos. It's like right next to your grow shop. It's like adjacent to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The garden originally we started right there beside the grow shop. It was a concept that the club had, which we want to fight the stigma towards cannabis. So we were like, well, what if cannabis growers, we grow vegetables just like we grow cannabis, pretty much. Cannabis is just like any plant, uses the
And
same
we're really good at
fertilizers. Yeah, and we started growing tomatoes and zucchini and cucumbers, and we grew them like crazy, big ass tomatoes, and we started donating to the food bank, and it has spiraled a positive stigma towards cannabis growers. Like, hey, we just grow vegetables, we grow stuff to help people. If we were such bad people, why are we doing that? Why are we trying to help people?
yeah.
And it's kind of cool. People now realize that tomatoes grow just like cannabis. I mean, there's no special sauce in there or anything.
If you
So
can grow really good tomatoes, you could probably grow some good cannabis too. That's for sure.
yeah, and I've
Um,
been blessed with an awesome club of people that grow some pretty damn good tomatoes.
yeah, yeah. Eric, I wanted to ask. going back a little bit though, you were a grower before you started the grow store?
Yeah. So I grew when I was younger. Cannabis was always something that was kind of, especially when it was illegal, it was hard to find,
Yeah.
and there was a lot of spells where, it would be dry. I mean, I remember it might be a couple months, you might not see anything. So I
I
started
grew up in New
dab.
Orleans. I remember those dry spells. There's
Oh yeah,
no
yeah. And
good.
then when you finally got some weed, it looked like a brick. It was just
Yeah.
like it wasn't supposed to look like that. But I always found seeds in my weed when I was growing up, and I would practice with that. And that was the way that I started learning how to grow, was just kind of trial and error. And whenever I, got a little older, I sold weed and made a little money off it and helped me out, whenever I was younger. And now that I've got older, learning how to grow with all the new technology that we have now with indoor growing with LED technology. It's so much easier to do in your house without spiking your electric bill crazy.
Yeah.
And, it's been a treat to be able to teach people
Hmm.
learn how to grow.
Heck yeah. Yeah. I wanted to talk a bit about your nonprofit Buttheadz Growers Club. We talked a little bit about how you were,
Yeah.
giving to food banks and whatnot. I wanted to mention, I saw on your site, you have a statistic there that says food banks serve over 46 million people in the U.S. annually. I thought that was interesting. But so the nonprofit gives out, you like give out weed plants, like little clones in exchange for cans of food and things like that.
So we started this thing. Our vice president, William Hotop, he was a great inspiration on the cans for clones that we do. The cans for clones is an idea where, if you're a cannabis grower, all of us know, you take little cuttings, you take little clones. They're really easy to do. You can just, the more you do it, you just stick them and they root, if you got the conditions right. And for us, veteran cannabis growers have been growing a long time. It's nice to be able to give back. A lot of us, we grow more clones than we need or we can have, and we can donate those to people that have trouble growing or have trouble, propagating seeds. People that you're new, you never grown before, and we give those away for canned food. And what we do is we give those clones away, and they give us canned food, and we take that canned food and we give it away to people that are hungry. And people, there are a lot of hungry people, and instead of me throwing my clones away, giving them to people that can help people and then turn
That's,
around and feed people. Yeah, it's positive.
that's such a cool initiative, man. You you mentioned to me when we were speaking earlier that the Boy Scouts of America can come to your community garden and get and earn like merit badges.
Absolutely. The community garden that we have here, this is for the community. And Boy Scouts are just like anybody else. They're community. They're future leaders, and they want to learn how to grow. I mean, we teach them how to do different kinds of things in the community garden, like square foot planning. What tomatoes don't want to grow next to peppers and stuff like that. And these kids can get their merit badges because the area, the space we are, just because I smoke cannabis or I grow cannabis, I do that in private. I do that on my own. I'm just a great guy, a community person that wants to get out there, just like all the other people at Buttheadz Growers Club. And once we change that stigma and put that positive spin on it, people are kind of like, oh, these people aren't bad, they just want to help out, and that's what we want to do.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really cool. So you said that you also said that one of the people that you work with spent like 6 years in jail in Missouri on a cannabis conviction. Is that right?
He spent 4 years in
4 years.
prison. He would that was the guy that came up with William, that came up with the cancer clones.
Hmm.
He had spent 4 years in prison for 40, I think he had 48 grams of cannabis. And that's crazy. I mean, 4 years of his life for not even 2 ounces of weed. I mean, that's that's
Wild.
preposterous. And it's medicine. Cannabis is medicine. It helps me. It helps so many. I've seen it help so many people. And I've seen it with my own eyes, and it's like I know what this stuff is. It's not a bad thing. It's a positive thing.
Yeah. I mentioned that because it kind of shows some of the stigma that you've probably been up against in starting these businesses.
Oh
And
yeah.
the stigma in the South is strong
Oh, it's
against.
so bad. When I first started out, the reason I had to be in a friend's shop is I wanted to get my own store, and no one would rent to me. No one would let me start my business. They were like, "Oh, we don't want your kind. We don't want your people around, you know."
Right.
And so they'd push us out, you know, and it was a lot, you know, at first, you know, and luckily I was able to get my start, you know, and whenever we were able to start out there, you know, we kind of, you know, spread the message and everything, and it's changing slowly, but it's still hard. You know, people that were convicted for cannabis back in the day that had a felony for cannabis or any kind of conviction for cannabis, they couldn't get a job. They
Yeah.
couldn't get financial assistance. They couldn't get government help because they were treated like they were scum of the earth, and just because they smoked a little weed, and
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah. Because they took some medicine
Yeah.
or dared to grow their own medicine, right?
Oh, I remember guys back in the day. I mean, guerrilla growing back in the day when people were growing, it was crazy. They would take the whole pot and weigh the soil and the tree and everything and say, "Oh, we busted 200 pounds of weed when you had, you know, 180 pounds of soil." You know what I mean? Like it's crazy.
Wow. That's just wild. Um,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about the name Buttheads. How did you come up with the name Buttheads? Where's that from?
So so the name Buttheads, actually it was me and my uncle originally that came up with it when I was we were smoking a little bit, coming up with an idea for the business. You know, that's the best way to spark up the creativity.
For sure.
Um, he had told me that a butthead is a goat with no horns. And I was like, man, that's a crazy idea. I was like, I love the idea of a goat logo, you know? And I was like, also, cannabis users and cannabis, especially a grower, if
Yeah.
you're a cannabis grower, you've been butting heads with everybody.
Yep.
You know, I mean, everybody and everything, every bug, every mildew, everything, you know, can't even go on vacation with button heads with something, you know. So I just thought it was fitting for people that were cannabis users and cannabis growers. You know, that's kind of what we are. We butt heads with people when we smoke weed and they get pissed off because it stinks. We're butt heads with them, you know. Hell, I mean, at MJ BizCon, they were butt heads with us because we were smoking out on the patio. They didn't like it, you know. So it was like, whatever, man, you know.
I feel like it's also maybe like like, people view cannabis users and as part of that stigma as buttheads, as like
Yeah,
as
yeah,
like or
and
whatever.
it is.
And it's really
We
cool.
own it.
You took the name, yeah, you own it, and you're like, actually,
Yeah,
look
we own it.
at this name, and we're going out into the community and helping people with it. So
Yeah, we're
it's
not pretending to be what we're not. You know, we're great people, awesome people. They just judged a book by its cover. They didn't even try to understand it. You know, it's like cannabis. I've had many events that we had for fundraisers down here for the Buttheads Growers Club. Never once have I had a fight. I've never had people yelling. They're just smoking weed. I mean, we sold a lot of food, but you know, I mean, that didn't hurt nobody.
yeah,
And everything was clean. Like
yeah,
there was no trash on the ground. There was no bathroom that someone just threw up in. You know, it was it's
yeah,
clean. It's crazy. It was the best events I've ever been to. You know, is cannabis events. You know.
amazing. What actually, I want if it's okay with you, I'd like to talk about
Yeah.
But it's Living Soil company more.
Yeah.
Um, why Living Soil? Were you growing in Living Soil before you started these businesses?
So my original grow tactic was always to feed the soil. I've always been such a believer of feeding the soil. I never quite understood why, you know, everyone wanted to use mineral add. I mean, I've grown hydroponics. I've done it. I understand how it works. I'm not saying the results are bad that come from that, and I understand you can get consistent results, but when you think of, you know, old growth forest, or you think of, you know, out there in the Amazon, some of the most beautiful plants, the most amazing things in the world that are growing out there, they're not growing in water. They're not growing in a river. They're not growing somewhere like that. They're growing in soil. A cup of soil has more microorganisms than like the stars in the sky. I mean, it's incredible. And for us to not try to work with nature and try to control it so much that we have a strict feed regimen on how we want to feed our plants, I think what you get from that, and this is just my personal opinion, I think you get better terp profile, better flavor out of your plants when you grow in soil, when you grow with the natural microorganisms that are in the soil and fungus, you know. And with living soil, that was always my kind of my kind of goal to grow with something that was sustainable, that was always feeding my plant, that I wasn't worried about, oh well, I missed a feeding this day, or the plant's not getting enough food. What if I was out of town? What if I was sick that day? Whatever. The plant's always eating. And my outdoor plants that I grow, same way. I use my same living soil. I mean, if I got eggshells or stuff in, old compost, I compost it up. Even at home, I don't waste that scraps and stuff like that. And that was what our grandparents did. They grew with natural living soil. They just did it out in the garden.
Yep.
Not in the basement.
Yep. No, nothing can replace the microorganisms that are there. And yeah, I've grown every style possible: living soil, super soil, hydroponic. And yeah, I prefer living soil personally
Absolutely.
for the same reasons. So
And you can keep using it. I mean, I have soil out here on my deck that I grow. It's been 5 years, the same soil. I've just re-amended a little bit, threw a little bit of Gaia in there or something like that.
yeah,
And that's it. I don't even feed it and I have 6 foot tall plants out here
yeah.
every year, so it's like,
Gaia and super soil is a really nice combo, by the way.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, super soil. I mean, there's
That,
so many amazing.
sorry, I meant living soil. Yeah. Or,
Yeah, no, there's so many amazing different kinds of soil out there. The thing I like about living soil compared to super soil is the mineral additives are sometimes you're giving the plant more than what it needs,
mm,
and when you use compost, and like our living soil that we use, why it's so special is the compost we use in it. We age that compost by 3 years, and we're using great natural elements like chicken waste, cotton waste, dairy waste, rice hull waste, and this is all waste. This is all recycled waste. It's staying out of landfills, and it's feeding us. It's making amazing stuff. I mean, we're working right now with Missouri grown vegetables, and they're redoing chicken houses and changing them into greenhouses. And we're growing in our soil. They're not even having to feed these tomato plants. They're
yeah.
just watering them,
Yeah.
and they have thousands of tomato plants growing in there just out of
That's
the soil.
yeah. Super smart.
Yeah.
What?
And another thing. Oh, go ahead.
No, yeah. Please go ahead.
Another thing that we do with our soil is our coconut core.
Yeah.
Our cocoa core is really special. We have a patent on our cocoa core where basically we remove the pith out of the cocoa core.
That's the
So
strings, the stringy parts.
the pith is more the spongy. So if you think about a coconut, whenever you cut it open, the inside of it's more of a spongy material that's on the inside of the coconut, and it basically absorbs a lot of water. It holds water, and what we did with that coconut pith is we took it out of the core. That way, we don't have to worry about that 70-30 perlite mix because I hate perlite. Perlite's not sustainable. It floats. And if you ever
Mm.
took old soil and you threw it out in your yard thinking you're going to help the environment, and you see that shit raining and floating away, like you're not helping nothing, you know? So we don't use perlite here. We substitute with rice hulls. I know there's compaction with rice hulls, but with our design of our core, that core is so fibrous that it doesn't need perlite. It drains just fine.
Yeah.
And now you can use it over and over and over again, and you're not worrying about stuff you're putting back into the earth that's bad. It's just completely organic, completely sustainable.
And for you, what makes living soil living?
I mean, I think it's just as simple as if you can take a bag of living soil, you can put it out in the cold, and that stuff starts steaming, it's alive. And my bags of soil, you put them out there, they're going to start steaming because they're alive, because the compost is alive.
Mm.
I mean, you see a lot of soils out there. I mean, I remember there were some other, living soil brands out there. Um, they were mineral additives, a lot of them. They're putting back guano, worm castings, calcium, whatever they're putting inside the soil.
Yeah.
And the soil hasn't broke that stuff down. It takes months to break some of that stuff down. If you've just the statistics on eggshells, how long it takes to break eggshells down in soil, it takes months, and that's why some people, grind them up or put vinegar with them or do different things with natural eggshells to get the calcium in their soil. But with living soil, you don't have to wait for that. You don't have to do all that stuff. It's already It's already doing it. And then when you add minerals to it, like calcium or nitrogen, any minerals you add to it, they're going to uptake those minerals, and uptake them faster, because they're not waiting to break down. And a lot of times when we're growing with soil, we're waiting for that process, or we're wasting it. A lot of those nutrients are just washing out into the bottom of the tray. So that's my definition of living soil.
What kind of biostimulants would you add to your soil? Like, would you add extra fulvic, humic acids? Add like, what would you suggest?
Humic acids are great. I mean, you can add humic acids to the soil. I mean, those will all help with uptake. My whole thing about the Butthead soils, you don't have to add anything to it. I went over to SIU just a while back, was talking to the kids, and they have this awesome cannabis biology program there.
Where's that?
And I was talking at SIU Carbondale.
Southern
Um,
University? Okay.
Yep, Southern Illinois University,
Yeah.
and I sponsor the kids down there. I donate soil to their cannabis program because I'm just such a huge believer in the future of cannabis, And I was talking to the kids down there in the program. They were like asking me tips and tricks on how to use my soil, and I said, honestly, I made it so it's simple. It's simple. You don't have to do a lot to it. And they were like, well, what do you mean? I was like, honestly, if you just take your soil, pH your water, and water it, you'll be surprised at the results you get. You won't have to do a lot to it.
Yeah.
Depending on what your water's like. Now, here in Southeast Missouri, we have a little more calcium in our water, so we don't have to use CalMag as much or calcium as much. But some people in different areas, you may have to add a little CalMag to your water whenever you're using my soil, depending on what your calcium is like in your area.
But man,
Really,
adding a little pH to the water and
just water with it.
maybe a little bit of CalMag is way less work than what most people do with like 12 bottles,
Oh yeah, it's
I'm guilty
crazy.
just as much as everybody else is using
Oh
bottles.
yeah, and me too. I've used it. I've used all kinds of different stuff, and I've tested all kinds of different stuff with the soil. I've noticed with synthetic nutrients that the soil, living soil, will actually uptake more than non-living soil because the roots are working with the soil. It's uptaking better. It's working with the mycelia in the soil. But I mean, when you're talking about uptake and different things with soil, that's really important. You want to get the most out of what you're getting, but using the soil and just watering with it and just keeping it simple, those people that are beginners, or that the people that are like, oh, I got a brown thumb, I can't grow anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. It's not that hard. And cannabis is very hardy. It's a very hardy plant.
Yeah.
I've seen it go through some shit.
We all have. It's hardy. It's
Yeah.
interesting. It's hardy, but it's also can be really fickle, man. Like that one
Oh
thing,
yeah,
pH,
you are 100%.
you know, and
It is.
it's it is. It has that dichotomy. It's a tough, you know, viral plant, but it's also like really fickle. You can mess it up pretty easily if you don't watch out. If you're not careful.
And when I tell people at my store and at the club that, first time growers is like, it's okay. It's okay to mess up. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, as long as you get a little something out of it to smoke, you learn, and the more you do it, the better you're going to get. And it's not that big a deal, if you make a mistake, you know.
You guys are doing grow classes in the grow shop.
Yeah, we have meetings every other week. We meet different places, and we do all kinds of different kinds of grow classes. It's not just cannabis. I mean, we do a lot of cannabis teaching and stuff, but we do, stuff about like how to cure onions or how to cure potatoes or how to be more self-sufficient, with what we do. Because basically, growing cannabis is a way of being self-sufficient. You're not depending on somebody or something to give you this weed, or medicine, that a lot of us use it for, and it's nice to be able to grow your own medicine. There's not a lot of medicines out there we can make ourselves, and it's kind of nice.
It's nice to be able to grow your own food too, and I love how you
Oh,
guys are
absolutely.
bringing both of those together. Really cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's definitely been a treat to be able to do so much with the community. I mean, we were just in the Christmas parade just this past weekend. It's awesome. be getting out there and sharing it with the community. We have people come up, ask us questions all the time, and,
Hmm.
and we're always happy to, be on the forefront of teaching people and learning things from other people too. So,
Yeah. Yeah. When you teach, you learn, huh?
oh, absolutely, 100%.
Amazing. Well, Eric, it's been such a nice time talking with you, man. That's our time for today. Eric Engelhardt is owner of Buttheadz Living Soil. Eric, thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
I'm Michelle Navedo, and this is the Friday 420. Until next time.